I think also make that kind of a deal rather enticing.
It is, and I think that's also the reason why I think Carrasco will be kind of hard for him to get, because Carrasco just signed an extension last season, so he's got plenty of something to show. So, but I do think the Dodgers, they can probably get Odorizzi cheaper than they can get either of the starters for the Indians. Just
yeah, that's probably true, but I still think that even in Odorizzi's case, there would be something that Tampa Bay would want in return that would be a little expensive for the Dodgers to have to give up. And I still wouldn't rule out Chapman eventually ending up in Los Angeles with the Dodgers. It might not happen in the offseason. It might not even happen during spring training itself. But I'll bet you by the time you get to the trade deadline, the end of July, if Chapman has taken care of his off-the-field issues and is still the dominant closer that he has been so far in Cincinnati, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers took another shot at it.
Well, John, you talk about money being spent. You told me about a little story, John. Something about the Major League Baseball revenue since 2004.
Well, actually, before the 2015 season, Major League Baseball's financing went back and did some, I guess, homework, research, however you want to call it. And since 1995, the overall league revenue has increased nearly 650% to $9 billion plus by 2014. So Major League Baseball has become a very healthy entity for all of these owners. Meanwhile, Major League Baseball's payroll has also increased by up to 378% to nearly $3.5 billion in 2014. So everybody involved with the game of baseball is financially getting healthy, both players and owners.
Hey, Chris, I thought John was going to tell me that Major League Baseball was going broke. No. And I don't know what I was hearing on a local radio station. I don't even know if I was even listening to the topic. But the part that I did hear was when one of the guys said, well, if the NFL is going to get involved, they're only going to get involved so long as they can monetize it. Otherwise, they're not interested. Man.
Well, look, I think Major League Baseball has done a very good job since they went through the strike period, the discord between the owners and the players that lasted for, frankly, far too long. Major League Baseball has done a very good job of not only, taking care of that relationship and making it better, but they've also done a very good job of really, branding out their product, not only in this country, but really globally as well. And I think that because they've been able to do it, and because there's a better partnership between the players and the owners, the money that they have started to reap the benefits of has really allowed this game to grow at a rather healthy rate. Plus, you have all the television contracts that are out there, the ESPN one, the Fox one, the TBS contract, the national radio contract as well. I mean, there's an awful lot of sources that Major League Baseball can now generate revenue through that really has allowed the owners and players to truly reap the benefits.
And a little bit later on, we're going to Chris, John, and I are going to expand on that money thing with a little something that these guys put me up on, and I was like, for real? But we're not going to do that right now. We're not going to do that right now. What we're going to do right now is, and it's like a segment we're starting. We don't know what the segment is. I don't know. It's let me see. It's baseball. More news, and now more news with Chris Lacey. Chris, what's broken since what we talked about?
The Pirates have signed free agent pitcher Ryan Vogelsong to a one-year deal.
That's it?
Oh. Ryan Vogelsong, I mean, that's, look, the Pirates have a bit of a hole in that rotation because A.J. Burnett has retired. And so there was a spot opened, and I think the Pirates are maybe hoping that Ryan Vogelsong can fill that role at least for a year until the Pirates can find what I would assume would be a cheaper and better alternative.
Yeah, and also I think it's a good move for the Pirates to get him because of their pitching coach race here. He has a history of actually making pitchers that joined the Pirates become better when they were with the team. He did the same thing with Edison Volquez and also Francisco Liriano. So I think it'll work out for both parties involved.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, it's a one-year deal, so it's a pretty cheap commitment by the Pirates to him. And let's face it, if Vogelsong has a good year, he can decide to put himself back out there again after next year and see if he can't get himself maybe one last really good deal.
And maybe I missed it because we didn't talk about it. Did we even touch on Brandon Phillips?
Not yet, no, but it does appear that the next domino to fall in Cincinnati is going to be Brandon Phillips. It appears the Washington Nationals are interested. It just, I guess, depends on what kind of a package they can put together, but it does appear that Brandon Phillips is going to be the next domino to fall in Cincinnati.
Hey, Chris, ain't he a 10-5 guy?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Okay. All right, so he's get to the waive. He'll waive that no trade clause.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I mean, he doesn't have to do it right now. He can wait until the trade deadline and see if a better situation might come up. Granted, he's going to help the Washington Nationals if that's where he ends up going, especially the middle of that infield defense, which from time to time last year was just awful. But you know what? If Brandon Phillips decides that Washington's not a good fit, he can certainly wait until the trade deadline and see if a better situation comes up.
Chris, you had thoughts on this?
No, I think Phillips will be a great addition for the Nationals. Like John already said, his defense will certainly help the team, and the trade has already been agreed upon. So the only thing that's holding the deal up is actually Phillips waiving his no trade clause.
Now, John, he's still got like $20-something million left on guaranteed money.
Like 2 years and $27 million left on that deal. So I think it's possible that Phillips might be trying to get an extension out of the Nationals in return for him waiving the 10-5 clause.
Because, of course, all this little speculation got started on Thursday night with that tweet that went out from Phillips saying 513 TO2 202. So 513 area code to the 202.
Well, let's face it, I don't think Brandon Phillips is interested in the rebuilding situation that's going on in Cincinnati.
No.
So that's why I would tend to think that this trade has a lot more credence to it than is, at least for the time being reported. I'm sure that let's face it, they're looking at probably a 90-loss season, maybe even a 100-loss season based on the way they're going. And I'm sure that Brandon Phillips is not interested in being a part of that in any way, shape, or form. So I can understand why he would want to get out of there. But again, I would think that if he's going to waive that 10-5, there's going to be some more money thrown his way.
Yeah.
And the A's are close to a one-year deal with right-hander Henderson Alvarez. He came from where? Miami? As of late?
Miami, yeah.
I don't know, Chris. This guy's got a sub 500 winning percentage, just under a 4 ERA. I don't know. Explain to me, because these are moves here that I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good move by the A's to sign Hernandez. They'll probably slide into maybe the third or fourth slot in their rotation. He's been an up and down pitcher in his career, but I think going to Oakland with the new team may actually give him another chance to actually shine in the rotation.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to see what it does for folks. I want the Washington Nationals to do everything they can to not help themselves. Hey, I'm a New York Met fan, so that's what I'm trying to do. Come in. Someone's knocking at my door when I'm having a show done. All right, let's see, folks. So we're gonna go ahead and right close to a break right here. Go ahead and take a break, guys. Of course, everybody, you're listening to In the Batter's Box, the NGSC Sports Baseball Weekly. on NGSCSports.com on the Spreaker radio player. I am your host, Ralph Garcia, along with my two co-hosts, John Doucette and Chris Lacey. Of course, we're talking hot stove. We talked the Bartolo Colon signing, moves going on in National League Baseball. The winter meetings, of course, have finished. We got some more stuff going. John, please tell the folks where they can find you.
Radio Doucette, if you're interested in finding me on Twitter.
And Chris, where are you at, Chris?
Coming in the morning, I'm on Twitter at BeCanada12. That is at BeCanada12.
And of course, you can always find me at ElRafito322 on Twitter. That's at ElRafito322. And of course, as I always like to say, everybody, back to the show. Well, folks, by the way, everybody, just want to remind everybody, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's 12 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock your time, 10 o'clock their time. Yesterday, someone else's. Tomorrow, whoever. But more importantly, 1 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow on NGSCSports.com. Of course, you'll get Joey Jazz, the voice of Nassau Community College Sports, as he does the live play-by-play. He'll be going solo tomorrow, but he'll be doing the live play-by-play tomorrow as Nassau Community College Lions basketball team host Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill, John, I believe, might be a top 10 team, I believe. Top 15 team.
Yeah, up here in my area, they're playing very well in JUCO so far this season, and that's going to be a pretty stern test for Nassau. It's the last game, I guess, before their holiday break, so hopefully people can tune in and check out a Nassau team that at the moment, Ralph, is playing rather well.
And for those wondering out there in listener land who's knocking at my door, it was my wonderful mechanic who came to get the rest of his money, as he did a great job, as I did the play-by-play, as he installed my engine. No, there wasn't no play-by-play for that, since I wouldn't know what the hell to say. But I can report to the listeners out there, engine's working very well. So, of course, as we say in this business, yeah, Chris, I got to throw stuff in there, man. We got to, every once in a while, if you feel like it, let it rip. Not gas, not, something from your mouth. Back to the show. Okay, guys. John, we were talking last night, or the other night with Chris, and we were talking about prepping for the show about what we were going to cover. And one of the nice stories, of course, is for the first time since 1999, of course, baseball's back and got a clinic in Cuba. It just ended. But, guys, let's talk about that for a minute. John, go ahead.
Look, I think this is a tremendous step forward for Major League Baseball, opening up a pretty serious door. Major League Baseball and the Players Union headed to Cuba for 3 days' worth of children's clinics that took place in Havana and in one other area of Cuba. It was done plus they also did a charity event as well. The group was headed by Joe Torre. It was headed by Dave Winfield. And it had some pretty powerful players on that roster. Clayton Kershaw made the trip. Miguel Cabrera made the trip. Nelson Cruz, John Jay. And they also had some Cuban big leaguers making that trip. And Jose Abreu and Brandon Pena, as well as Yasiel Puig, made the trip to Cuba. I think it's very interesting that those guys made the trip simply because there are those in Cuba that for a brief period of time didn't think that those guys would ever return to Cuba now that they left the country and have become Major League Baseball players. But as you said, it's the first time since 1999 that Major League Baseball has been in Cuba. The Baltimore Orioles played an exhibition game that year in March of 1999 against the Cuban national squad. And Major League Baseball had not been back since. But, the talent level down there being the way it is, and now with the relations between the United States and Cuba being better than it's been in quite some time, Major League Baseball decided to open this door. I think it was a wise idea. I think it's going to lead to some opportunities for Cuban-born players to come to this country and be a part of Major League Baseball. And I think when we start talking about the World Baseball Classic, which will come up in a couple of years, I think this Cuban team that will eventually be a part of that tournament could be one of the strongest teams that they've ever fielded for that thing.
That's actually where I was going to go with you, Chris. Number one, your thoughts on on what the clinic in Cuba, but the fact that we know